Thanks, Katie, and thanks to the rest of the team for their presentations. So we've learned what happens in other industries. What did we find out from our data gathered through the vegetable industry? So what we did was develop a survey, and we based that on a lot of background research and information through reliable sources, robust sources such as organisation sign-up pages, industry statistics, and information gathered through other research and development corporations. We ensured that the survey was short and manageable, so it would only take 5 minutes to complete, and we gathered the right profile information of respondents as required for the development of levies. We distributed the survey through our extensive networks. We ensured it was kept open for a period of over 3 months. So the Melbourne markets, growing regions around Victoria, and networks such as the AusVeg Weekly Update or Innovation newsletter were used in distributing the survey out to growers. Over that whole time, we only gathered a total of 22 responses. So I personally spoke to at least 50 growers who assured me they would do this survey. So that highlights another issue with gathering industry data, is how hard it is to get people to take time out of their day to pursue this sort of stuff. So the first area we're asking through the survey is what specifically you support. So how would it be funded? Over 90% of respondents supported the diversion of current R&D funding towards a marketing levy. Other ideas for funding were much less respected. And in terms of what sort of campaign the industry would support, there was over 90% support from the respondents for promotion of the whole industry. So not one commodity at a time, but all vegetables as one. And over 50% support for region-based Eat Green, Eat Local sort of campaigns. So how much money do the respondents support using to fund this campaign? If we're talking about the introduction of a new marketing-specific levy, you can see up the top graph there that 0% was the most supported answer. So as we increased how much money we're asking for growers to newly contribute, they gave it less and less support. In terms of the current levy, the most supported outcome was between 0.1 and 0.25 of the currently collected 0.5% at first point of sale R&D levy. So in terms of how much money that would look like, over the last financial year, I think it was around $15 million worth of R&D levy money was spent. So that's about $3 to $7 million per annum. We gathered a lot of other information that gave unclear results. So we were asking respondents to rank where we should invest money, and there was no clear winner there. So in terms of export, local domestic markets, those sort of things. One other key takeaway here is that not all respondents were aware of how the R&D levy money is spent, so that can affect the validity of some of their responses. If they're not aware of where the money's going, how can they be sure that it's better for it to be spent in one area compared to another? We then asked if we were to get this collaborative marketing effort up, how would you measure if it's been successful? You can see that the most supported option there is consumer motivation for buying product and increased brand awareness. So the growers and people paying for the levy would like to know that they're getting promoted and that people understand why they're purchasing things. Is it based on the advertising that's being produced? And we're asking about what's the key outcome for the industry. It's more money, more revenue. So selling more product is the end goal of this collaborative marketing idea. So what can we take away from this survey and these efforts? The main outcome is that we've developed a format for use by the industry to collect further data And that is our key recommendation, is that there needs to be more information gathered and collated in order to make informed decisions in this space. Based on these preliminary results that are not conclusive, you would recommend a diversion of current R&D money towards marketing for a whole of industry and regional based campaigns. And another key takeaway is growers and industry need to understand where their money is going. So there are 4 case studies combined for this project. What's next? So when we started this process, we reached out to the relevant projects and industries working in this area. I spoke to Greg Murdoch at Core Innovation about the happenings in this space, and we will reconnect with those people, see what's changed, and forward our results. So we've actually got a report that we've drafted based on all this information. We're going to collect information that we've gathered over this last residential period, finalise that report and distribute it through the industry. Make sure we understand what else is happening in this space and we're not reinventing the wheel, stepping on toes, but we're working together collaboratively in this space. The end goal for us for this project, if it was successful, is for a connected industry with increased consumption and understanding of research and development, especially around marketing purposes. What has the collaborative marketing team learnt about leadership over this 6-month journey through Growing Leaders? An awful lot. For each of the 4 of us, I've got one key takeaway here about leadership, and the first one is communication and listening. So when you're communicating, if you're a leader, the main aspect is listening. So how do you know what you're saying is being heard? You listen. How do you know what everyone else needs, what members of your team need? You listen to them. And that ties in with understanding them, supporting them, and that supports yourself. If you've got people around you like-minded, moving in the same direction, they're going to support you and you're going to be all the better for it. You need to have a clear focus and goal and a plan to get there. So you need to be driven and focused and know where you're headed and take people along the journey with you. I'd like to thank everyone that's helped our marketing team along the journey. And if you've got any further questions about our project, please get in touch. And I'll hand over to the next and last strategy group for 2017 Growing Leaders, Veg Trace Australia.